Hey everyone, I'm Mary Beth McAndrews from Dread Central, and I'm here today with Shane Brady and Emily Zercher, the director and producer of the new film Breathing Happy. And not just director, Shane also wrote and edited this movie. Hello, we are so excited. And by we, I am so excited to be here with y'all today.
Thank you, Mary Beth. We are so pumped, selfishly, because we gotten to know each other because of your Q&A at Popcorn Frights, and we had like such a wonderfully intimate, experience doing
It
that. It
wouldn't
was,
that much
I
because we were
know,
all crying our eyes.
which I
Yes,
didn't expect.
everyone.
Yeah.
People haven't seen the photo of me doing the Q&A popcorn frights of this film and not being able to speak because I was crying so hard. So thank you to the both of you for that experience. And I'm glad there's a really good picture of it too. I love that. It's an
Oh,
incredible
it's a
picture.
great photo. And like, sadly, it was, well, no, not sadly. It was the first screening we had with an audience because our virtual premiere was at Chattanooga. So that was our first like in-person theatrical.
We're
So
like,
like
God, I hope
I
people like
I
this.
didn't know. Like I didn't know if people were gonna be like, this cheesy fucking like get out of our horror festival. So like
You trash
you
monster.
trash bitch. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, someone stands
That's
up in the
how
middle of the
audiences
festival.
usually react.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're talking about it, but Shane, can you tell viewers what Breathing Happy is?
Sure. So, Breathing Happy is the story of a character. I play a character named Dylan, and he can achieve a year of sobriety on Christmas, but his past demons tempt him to fail in this like crazy, wacky Looney Tunes, like I don't even know how to describe my own damn movie. Like journey of is he gonna find rebirth or relapse? And there's talking doors, and his yoga app yells at him, and hockey trophies.
Chaos ensues.
Chaos ensues. He goes through portals and magic doors. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's great.
super simple.
And obviously, we talked about it's very emotional, moving movie, but it's also very silly because you have talking doors and you have these like surreal elements. And so, when you're writing the script, how were you trying to balance these really strong emotional beats with kind of the more silly, surrealistic? And why did you want to add that? Like, why to you was it important to have these kind of more silly moments rather than just a straightforward kind of like drama?
Sure. Well, I know like in early ideations of the script, there wasn't as much comedy. Like it for sure was there. I knew I wanted elements of it, but like Emily would read rough drafts of it or some friends, and I don't remember your word choice, but it wouldn't come off as like, hey, this script is kind of mean, or it wouldn't be like, hey, this is too dark. But I kept finding that like I myself was almost getting bored, reading through things.
Oh.
Try so much. And then if it's a scene after scene after scene of just feeling bad for somebody or being mad at somebody, that's not an emotion you want to elicit for 90 minutes.
So the honest answer is there was a moment where like all of that was in the back of my head, and we each got COVID December of 2020, so I was just locked in my brother's back room for 3 weeks and just like poring over the script. And I listened to a lot of Eminem because I was like, okay, what, like that's a good like guy who dealt with addiction and now is on the other side. And there's a moment during Eminem's second album where they're like, we can't have all this sad, depressing shit. You got to have one fun song. And I was like, oh, okay, I need to like lean into some of the fun. And then the final pass was Final Draft has this awesome thing where you can color coordinate your locations or your scenes. So I would actually color coordinate based on, and this is going to get confusing, 6 different things. Either Dylan's reality, Dylan's not reality, or like obvious dream drug sequence. That was like the ABC. And then the 1, 2, 3 is this, and I made it very blanket, like happy, sad, or like alluring, like drawing you in, you know? And then of course I extrapolated and found more superfluous adjectives to apply to those scenes. But that's the start of all of that.
Wow. And how long have you been working on this story, the script? Because this is your first feature, correct? So like how long has this idea, this story kind of been percolating in your brain?
So there's a scene from the movie that actually happened in my life. I want to say when I was like 25 or something. And it was a Christmas Eve that was so Looney Tunes that at like 4 a.m, finally, when all of the mayhem settled down, I opened up Final Draft and was like, I'm just going to type this because it's nuts. and I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm just going to type it. And I typed it, and it was like 30 pages, and I kind of sat on it. And I wish I could go back to 25-year-old me and be like, stop trying to just be an actor. Focus more on like creating stuff, you know? And I've been fortunate enough over my decade plus in Hollywood to make a whole bunch of short films. I've gotten to be an actor in a bunch of different films and TV shows. So I have a knowledge of how to make things, but I also have a wealth of friends that have like already had their babies. That's the best metaphor Emily came up with. Like all of our friends have already made their babies, aka their films.
So whenever you are a first time mom or dad,
you call up all your friends that have babies.
You're like, my baby is vomiting. It's like, I don't know what's going on. What is it? And they go, oh, this happened to me, and this is what you do. And so, yeah, you just call the people that are already parents of a little film.
Wait, that's an incredible comparison.
Yeah, yeah.
Because everybody, the whole entertainment industry is fake it till you make it. And it's everybody just trying their best. But you have to also humble yourself and know you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so if you, as a parent, you can read all of the baby books. You can go to all the film schools. You don't know what you're doing until that thing is crying in front of you and shitting itself.
Yes. So whenever we had a crying, shitting itself movie, I would call up like Ricky Bates, Gustavo Cooper, David Lawson, Aaron Moorhead, Justin Benson, and it'd be like, why is this crying, shitting thing happening? And they would be like, oh, it's because your aspect ratio is wrong, or you did the H.264. You know what I mean? Like all the obvious answers for that. Yeah.
The usual baby shitting itself.
That's just an absolutely incredible. A movie is just a baby shitting itself constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're trying to like, okay, I'm going to make you a good little creature to go out into the world. I'm going to be proud of you. But you just keep shitting yourself.
Like, please stop for 2 seconds.
I'm gonna mold you.
By the way, really quick, in this YouTube world, I hope that I still look very manly and attractive drinking out of my reusable straw.
Well,
I think we're all.
Oh yeah, see, there you go.
We're all
Zoa.
Wow.
Sorry,
product placement. These things are legit.
What is it? Is it?
It's Zoa. It's The Rock's new energy drink. So like,
I didn't know he had an energy drink.
Look,
he doesn't need anything else.
I don't know if this is better or worse than like Monster. I don't know if this is like not gonna age well, where people are gonna have a screen grab of like frat bro Brady with his fucking Zoa. But they're delicious and I love them. They're great.
So I'm swerving back to Breathing Happy. I'm sorry to swerve away from
Zoa will be upset, but I'm happy. Okay.
I know. But since this script, it sounds like, is pretty personal to you, what was that experience to kind of be reliving these moments that were, I'm assuming, pretty painful and committing them to screen? I mean, I've got to imagine it was incredibly difficult. Just making an assumption there.
Yeah. So yes, it was incredibly difficult. And there were, like, to oversimplify, there were so many iterations of this movie being like, okay, I gotta find somebody else to direct it. I gotta find somebody else to edit it. I have to find somebody else to, just go down the line. And because, like, again, to oversimplify, because of logistics and COVID and money and resources, there were so many times that I would just look at Emily and be like, I guess I got to direct the thing myself. And I hope that people don't think this is some ego trip. And then it's like, oh, I got to edit this thing myself too, because I don't have money to do it otherwise. And so, you know how like everyone hates their own voice and their own face? Now stare at your dumbass face and listen to your voice for 9 months in this void, reliving trauma of like past friends and family being like, why did I do this to myself? And then you like show it to people hoping they like it, and they're like, this moment's really not working. So like,
and you're like, cool, I cried about that for 6 weeks after I had it.
Right? But
emotionally like relive that moment. But it was funny because so we have Shane's office that we're in, and he'd be editing, and I would just open the door, like check on him every few hours, and it's like
sometimes I'd be like legitimately crying.
Okay, maybe you should take a break.
Right. But then the best was when like Emily, who you know, she's my liaison and my everything. So I would just lean on her being like, I gotta show you this. I gotta show you this. And there'd be times where like 2 months go by and like a scene is not working. And I'd be in the dark hole. And then I would be like, Emily, I think I fixed this scene. Can you look at it? And she would watch it. And then I would look at her and it would just be like tears. And she'd be like, yeah, you did it. We figured it out, you know?
Well, and so what's that process, Emily, for you, like watching him edit and like being the sounding board through this whole thing and like and like not just like creatively but emotionally supporting too? Like it's a lot.
It is a lot. To be fair though, like it wasn't just me. Like although we are geographically together at all times, there's also, I mean, Jamie Parslow, David Lawson, Aaron Moorhead, Justin Benson,
Chris Dudley, and Matt
Reisinger.
We actually, I need to ensure that people know that we would have like 4 days in a row, 4-hour blocks of me, Jamie, Chris, and Matt, like watching the movie moment by moment, beat by beat, ensuring that everything was flowing well. Like
emotionally. But at the same time, for me, because you didn't want to edit it, and it was it's that thing I think a lot of creatives also experience, and it's when you are doing something and you're kind of glued to something for so long, you start hating it so much, and you start ripping it apart and overthinking and overanalyzing and going, nope, I'm gonna redo the entire thing. And you're like, no, just keep moving forward. And it was just a lot of that kind of talk every single day for months on end.
So I'll try to tell this in 30 seconds. So you know the red and green room when I go in and Hugh, the drug guy, is like, ho, 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 right? Okay. If you really want to like psychoanalyze and look, when we were filming, the lights couldn't stay just red or just green. They had to just go from red to green every 6 seconds. It was like the only way to program them. So I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is going to suck to edit. So if you watch that scene, the first like 90 seconds, it goes from red to green every 6 seconds. And I got so frustrated of not being able to find the best take and the right damn color and the rhythm and trying to get it to go, that like Hugh's like, I'm gonna, like, all he does is pat me on the shoulder once, and I do this like, okay, cool, now colors don't matter. And then like I accidentally stumbled and invented this thing that I call double speak, where he would be like, I got some Xanax, I got Xanax in this bag because I didn't have the right color and I didn't know what select to use.
It was just the selects.
It was just the select.
Be one, but then we ended up liking it so much.
Yeah, I think I showed it to like I think I showed it to Ricky Bates or something, and somebody was responding so well to it, being like, this drug scene and this like people repeating themselves is so cool. Like, and so my ego was like, yes, the purposeful thing I did.
That was just like the handful select very much to choose from.
Yes. My very smart creative filmmaker decision that I made, because I'm very deliberate in all of my that's
so the note to future filmmakers: be so bad at editing that you just use the same things over and over, and then people will respond to it and like it.
Works every time.
Works every time. But also, Shane, you're a magician.
Yes.
I want to hear more about that, because you are, and your character is a magician of sorts in the movie. So I want to hear more about how you got started in that world and all of that.
Sure. So 2 of the very true stories in Breathing Happy is I did break my neck when I was 14 playing hockey, missed my entire freshman year of high school, and I did get my right index finger cut off. So I don't know if you can see like that wicked scar right there, and how my nails
your nail looks
this is a fucked up nail. Listeners, if you cannot see the visual, I have a fucked up nail. So yeah, like the moment in the movie where I'm like, I got my finger cut off from a boat's trailer, which that's true. And then part of my physical therapy was learning how to.
We always have a deck around.
I have like a million decks of cards at any given time, and so I just got like really into I just got really into like shuffling cards, But the thing is I have no feeling from here forward on my finger. So I'm like a lefty guitarist in Magic, because almost all magicians use their dominant hand index finger to lift cards. But since I have no feeling, I have to do everything from my thumb. So I will like pull cards like this and be like, oh, look, an ace. And then you snap your fingers or whatever, and it changes colors. But like I have to, it's hard to do over Zoom, but like I have to do everything with my thumb. So when I was auditioning for the Magic Castle, all of the magicians are looking at my right index finger, and then you're like, oh, that looks weird. And then I would be able to pull off the trick more easily. And the reason why I put magic in the movie was twofold. Number one, because I know how to do it, and I've never seen a movie using magic to like further the narrative. And I thought that would be a way to like reel people into the movie and kind of give them like a moment to settle in between some of the chaos. But also it was super important to me that people were viewing Dylan very childlike. And what better way to make you childlike than to like, that's why the movie has like puppies and rainbows and magic and like actual kids and stuffed animals, you know, and him going back to like the childlike version of him playing hockey, you know, so that way
you don't only see Dylan the addict, you see Dylan as a good kid and like what he could have become if he didn't get involved in it.
And that was important to me, because I had so many, I have had so many conversations with parents of addicts, and since I don't have children, like this recurring thing they say is like, yeah, but you never saw them when they were like 5. Like I still see the little baby that like needs help. You just see, you know, insert bad words here. Like you just see the piece of shit that needs to get their fucking life together. But I see the baby that's still in there. And that's why June has like 4 lines of like, no matter how big you get, you'll always be this big. And I remember him when he was a little boy, because that's something that I do not understand, but I thought it was important to like, I got to make sure that the maternal character in the movie only sees the good and only sees the little boy that can like go back to that place. Yeah.
I'm gonna cry again talking about it. But then I want to talk about the cast too, because the cast is incredible, like your co-stars, and I wanted to hear more about how you found this incredible cast and how you got them involved in Breathing Happy.
Sure. So kind of an amalgamation. Jake Warnecke, who is one of my friends, helped like kind of like legitimize the project and sift through to make sure I wasn't doing things incorrectly, I guess is a good way to put it. We kind of cheated, because
big time
because Brittany Escalante, who plays Brianna, is Emily's best friend.
She's
18,
freaking rock star. Mia Castillo is one of, I coach kids in acting, and she's a little girl that I've known
all the
for
kids
years.
are just acting kids.
Yeah, Owen Atlas I've known for years. Evie White, the same deal, right? So I knew the kids already, and I knew their parents were, and I swear I'm not lying when I say this. I'm not like circumnavigating SAG, but I knew the parents were cool. You know what I mean? Of like, oh, if I say that we have to hang out outside in the rain for 2 hours, they won't complain. They'll be happy and say, "Can I get coffee?" You know what I mean? Like,
we wanted a good
like a good vibe on set.
You didn't want any kind of toxic anything, and so that can happen easily. But thankfully, you know the kids, you know the parents, you know the work ethic.
Augie Duke was one of the last people cast, and that was the hardest, because we were trying to find this redhead to play the older version of Evie, and she has these like piercing blue eyes, and it was so tough. And Augie freaking dyed her hair on Instagram, and I like ran into the room and be like, it's Augie. It's fucking Augie. Augie, oh my god. So I asked her to audition, and of course she like blew the world away. Like it did so good. June Carroll came from Mark Bennett. This is a wonderful story. So I was trying to find out who to play my mother, right? And initially I wasn't thinking African American to be my mother. And I was having a lot of difficulty. Jake wasn't finding it, because again, COVID, we have to find somebody that would agree to work for the SAG ultra low budget rate of $200 a day. You know, it was very difficult. And I emailed Mark Bennett, who has cast me in a bunch of stuff, most of the Moorhead Benson stuff. And I said, hey, I'm looking for a woman to play my mother who is kindness incarnate. Like, you just see this woman and you think, this absolute angel of a sweetheart. Of course, the only route she's going to know is love and kindness and compassion. I was like, can you send me some names? And Mark replied, I got one name for you, June Carroll. That's it. That's all he replied. And so I reached out to June, and we had like a Zoom reading, and I'm bawling my eyes out and she's bawling her eyes out. We read the scene where we're sitting at the kitchen and she goes, why can't you stop? And like within 5 minutes, I was like, yeah, you want to do it? She's like, that's it. This is all. And I was like, yeah, it's it's my movie. You made me cry. I don't need permission. And yeah. And so I'm so thankful that I found her. And then John D'Aquino is my mentor, and Hugh Scott, who plays the drug guy, is one of my best friends. And obviously Moorhead, Benson, Bolger, all my friends, like Mike Flanagan did a little voiceover cameo for me. Kieran Foy.
He did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kieran Foy and Mike Flanagan both do.
You wouldn't know it. It's a total Easter egg. When I'm sitting on the couch and the Irish nature documentarian, when I'm like, you want to watch a show about lions and shit? It's like, the lions haven't found water for days. Like whatever that is. That's Kieran Foy, who did like Haunting of Hill House and Eli and Citadel. And then the next voice you hear is kids from my voiceover class. I was doing a voiceover class, and I just had kids going, Christmas can be saved. We can do it together. Hooray! And then the next voice is Mike Flanagan going, fly with speed, fast airline. No, he says something beforehand, like, it looks like they won't be home alone this Christmas. I'm home, kids. Daddy! Fly with speed, fast airlines and go higher than ever before. So
I think you've worked a lot on this movie. It sounds like, I think a little bit. Not even.
Going back to the cast too. So because we also know these people.
Oh, Caitlin Akon, only the star of the fucking Walking Dead, who agreed to do my movie. That one, that old little thing.
She is. Because we have such a close relationship with these people, we also know them intimately and know the traumas that they've faced as well. And so one thing I want to quote, I think Brittany Escalante said it at Popcorn Frights, is it was a way for her to right the wrongs and say things to Dylan that she didn't get to say to other people in her life. And so as much as it was a cathartic exploration of emotion for Shane, it was kind of that for every single person in the film.
And we didn't know Augie's brother had passed away of an overdose a year beforehand.
And it was just like all of this kind of fell into place a little too well. And so I think the other reason, they're not only incredible actors, but they also have the depth because they understand it so well. To where not everybody, you can be an incredible actor, but if you haven't experienced that, your emotions might not be as raw and real and come out onto the screen in such a way. And everybody's like, no, those were all human reactions. We're like, because you didn't direct them to act a certain way. You just directed them to
open up.
What would you do in this situation? What do you wish you could have done?
Well, and again, like, watching this movie does hit that for me as someone with an experience with family like that, because I feel like with movies that about addiction, it can get very like overwrought really easily. Like, look at the sad addiction story, and it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, these are people, and like there are other.
That's why Sarah Bolger, I gave her the line as the mystery door, like, oh, boo fucking who? Like, I need another story about a sad white dude feeling sorry for his own self-destructive ass. Who gives a fuck? Like, I think it's like, you need those moments and like, just label it exactly like you're saying. And
it just like makes it feel, and again with like Brittany's performance when I talked to her Popcorn Frights, like, good lord, it is incredible about like getting those having people those experiences, as tragic as it is, and as much as I wish none of us had those experiences. Like, I mean, but my final question, this is a Christmas movie, so should people be watching this with their families at Christmas this weekend?
I think
Especially
so.
If your families has addiction problems.
I think it'd be great.
So no,
that out.
So I'll answer it this way. One of my biggest fears in this movie coming out was I knew invariably, and this isn't a lie when I say this, I know way too many people who are addicted to X, Y, and Z and either going through it or have gone through it. And you know, a lot of the themes and stuff are based on those true events. So I knew that when I had this like grouping of people that were going to eventually watch the movie, you're like, are they going to hate it? Like, it's important that I, excuse the pun, but like keep the cards close to my chest. and it has been universally loved by people who are addicts or who have gone through it, and that makes me super happy, because there was a moment after Popcorn Frights. I'll reserve this person's name, but it's someone I haven't seen since college, and they came to Miami to come see the movie, and like we have a hug after the movie, and he could not speak, and he asked like to step to the side, and he was like, if I saw this movie 5 years ago, I think it would have saved 5 years of my life, and I think your movie is gonna fucking save people, dude. I think it's gonna fucking save people. And that wasn't my intention in making this movie, and I've heard versions of that several times over. So something Emily was saying is like, we should try to get this film into like
treatment centers or to people that are in like halfway houses or anything like that. But also, to answer your question about, is this for a family to watch? To me, I wish it was more open-minded for families to watch, for kids that, 14 and up, because I'm sorry, but DARE program doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
If they could actually see what they would be doing to somebody if they went down that path versus say no to drugs, why? Just fucking say no. Say no, like and singing a song about it. Like, no.
As adults, we know this to be true, but instead of saying, oh, drugs are so destructive, what they should say is, drugs are so amazingly, incredibly, euphorically awesome that everything else will just get destroyed because you want this amazing, euphoric, peaceful, calming, pain-free experience. But if you don't know how to handle that powerful weapon, then of course bad stuff.
But also nothing will ever compare, and so you'll constantly be chasing this high that you can't get, and every time you chase the high, you're going to be disappointing and ruining other people's lives around you. And it's like, that's a real thing, and I wish families could come together and watch it, and this could be, maybe instead of the sex talk, this is the new family drug talk of, okay kids, it's Christmas time to all huddle up around the Christmas tree, watch this film.
Is Santa real? Before we answer that, little Billy, boy, do we have a movie for you. Do you like trophies? Yes. Do you like magic?
Yes. Talking doors, dogs, we've got it all for you.
Right?
We've got it all.
Well, Shane and Emily, thank you so much for talking with me today about Breathing Happy. I want so many people to see it. It is available now for everyone to stream on all of the services. So please rent, and please check it out with your families, or not by yourself, but have the tissues ready, everybody.